Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here on Monday night. Thank you for being here for my fireside chat. I have a whole bunch of topics. I'm going to do some things up front here, and then the second half we're going to talk about UFO busting. Yes, what our project is for the second half of February. That is starting today, February 15th through the end of the month, and I'm just giddy about doing these. I don't know why. Why is that? Okay, so first, what is your elephant status? How are you doing with your Ellie the elephants? If you were waiting to get a printed pattern, if you're joining us just recently, the printed patterns are back in. So the link is below, and it's over at my website as well. So you can click over and get yourself an elephant pattern, Wendy Shepherd's pattern. It is so cute. We've been making. So I did not get my elephants basted, but when we talk about UFOs, guess which is going to be my first one to be finished? It would be the elephant. Yes, you're right. So here it is again. I have got it ready to be to have not basted, the binding. I've already quilted it. It's all quilted. I just need to put the binding on. Another B word. Binding, basting, what's the difference, huh? Big difference, right? We all know it's a big difference. So here it is. Here's mine, which is long, so that I can put it above my bed. So I have it already. I have the hanging sleeve made. I have the binding made, and I just need to put it on there. And so that is back on the table here, because I have a bunch of stuff back here we're going to go through when we talk about the UFOs. Well, I even have a label there for it. So I have got everything ready to go for it. Now, one of the things we talked about the other day was hanging your quilts. Speaking of hanging the Ellie quilt, so I asked for suggestions, and I talked about cafe clips, the little clips that you still have to hang a curtain rod for cafe clips. You still hang a curtain rod, and then you have the little rings with the little clips on them, and you've seen those. And so several people, and you may have them in your home to hang your curtains. So several people said that they have been pretty successful. Sometimes they have to put a lot more clips when they're doing a quilt, because otherwise they will pull in. But the quilts, because they're firmer than curtains, they don't pleat as much. So you might have really good luck with cafe quilts. And let's see, I found Dee showed us her quilt here over in the Quilt Along with Pat Sloan group. So I thought this looks really fabulous. And she has a place now that she can hang quilts. And so if you don't want to put a hanging sleeve on the back, try the cafe clips. The other thing that many people have been successful with, which I found really wonderful, I'm not used to using them, is command strips. They're not something I use very much, but the command strips, people have said that they do stick to the back of your quilt, and if it's not too terribly heavy, they will stay up for a fairly long time. So there's some caveats there, but if you have command strips, you might give them a try. Several people said that they have done it. They have taken them off. They do not damage the fabric at all. So my thing would be, do they stick to the fabric well enough? Because a lot of stuff doesn't stick to fiber as long term, particularly if you have weight on it. I know that from tape and other things that I've done over the years. But I've not played with command strips myself. So there you go. A bunch of you have done it. So now you have two other options for hanging your quilts. See how it goes. Let me know if you've tried them. I might do a cafe curtain sometime. I mean, I have a bunch of curtain rods because I've always had those, and I've had them for years. I don't even think cafe curtain things were a big thing when I started quilting. Like they weren't even on my radar to have. But I might take a look at it and try one just to see how it works. Just to give it a go. Okay, another quilt I wanted to talk about was the heart. Done. You saw my Saturday video. I'm just so excited to have it up in the dining room. So here is a picture of my dining room wall with the heart quilt up. You can see the love pillow and some other little red things over there. Oh, there's the cocoa pillow. Okay, and then that little group of houses, a couple people have asked me, what are those? So here is a close-up of the little houses. They were, one year they were at Target in the bins, I think. So that's where they came from. But you can often find little houses like that somewhere. So, and I put little tea lights, little electric tea lights in there and turn them on. So they, twinkle, the little houses twinkle. So cute. Yes, I really love that. Okay, I'm trying to be sure I don't forget anything here before we talk UFOs. Now, if you have not gone to if you didn't watch my Friday video, then you missed out on the big surprise. And so you need to go to my Friday post because I have a giveaway. Yes, there's a goodie bag, and so you need to go over, watch my video on the post, and then leave a comment at the end on Fridays. So all this stuff is linked below, or you can just go to the main link on the comment section. I pinned the main link to take you to my website today for Monday. So you've got you've got the stuff listed there as well. And while you're there, subscribe, click that big bell for me. Okay, changing gears. So it's always like so much, it's like for a couple of days you think like, how does so much stuff happen in a couple of days? But it does. So I want to talk about the Jolly Bars. Jolly Bar Sew Along will be coming up. It's coming in April. The Jolly Bar 3 book, how we do that? How you teach kids to do that? Book 3, there you go. I never taught kids how to do that. We always had to do 3 like this, you hold the, and you can never get this finger, the ring finger, to go straight. A little digress there. So Jolly Bar Book 3, we're going to do a table runner as our sew along. It'll start April 5th, which is a Monday. So it'll be on Mondays. We'll get a block for like 8 weeks. But during that time frame, what I want us to do is pick one of those projects in the book. I'll do some surveys and we'll see which one we want to do as a group. So we'll also do a full quilt from the book with the Jolly Bar. And I'll be talking about this again, but I want you to get ready, particularly if you're doing an order. You want to use my links, and you can pick up your Jolly Bar 3 book, so you can be ready and have that. Yes. It's darling. There are such cute things in there, and it's like $10 for, I don't know, a dozen or so patterns, and we'll do a sew along. It'll just be, they're just so much fun to sew together. And the Jolly Bars are 5 by 10 pre-cut that are exclusive to the Fat Quarter Shop. So it's half of a layer cake. So if you have a layer cake that you love, I mean, some of the Jolly Bar patterns take 2 Jolly Bars. Most of them take 1, but some take 2. But you can just cut a layer cake in half or make your own. But it's fun to get the pre-cut already done. So that will be that'll be in April, but I'll talk about it again. Okay, let's talk about shamrocks. That is what's coming up next. So we will be sewing shamrocks starting, I believe it's March 20th. And I said that I would be looking at the mini muffin here. Let's go take a peek at the mini muffin. That's what's on the wall here. This was a fall project. It's a pattern by the Fat Quarter Shop, and I did the sew along. This was when my wrists were really, I'd broken them, and just about the time this was starting, or very soon after. So my friend Jerry made the top for me, and she quilted it and put the binding on and everything. But these are super cute. This was done in fall fabrics. But I have a feeling that this would be, I mean, I know this would be super cute for shamrocks, because they're like a 4-leaf clover. But remember I said, what if we made them as 3-leaf clovers, and I did like this as a stem? So, do you want to see? I made one. I made one. Here we go. Ta-da! Look how cute that is. So cute. So I had some options for background, and I'll show you that on another day, but I just want to get you excited about thinking about this and thinking about what you would use. Let me show you how it looks over here. So if I put it up there like that, you can get an idea. Whoops. Well, that's not going to work. I said, as soon as I put that up there, I thought, you know what? I better pin it. Okay, there we go. So here's a shamrock. Now, if I did, we could do 4 of them, you know, so that they all have the stems coming in. You could do 3, and you could do 1 full shamrock. What I'm excited about is that I have stacks of the green squares. These were from doing cuttings from, you know, I did a whole quilt of this square, this one with, you know, just the alternating green and white squares. I did a whole quilt, but it didn't use up them all. I have probably 1 more stack this big, so I have enough to do this mini muffin. I could even do a border around it, which I might do of the squares. So I might just see if I can use these up and then go through my green bin and cut up some more that are short, you know, or small, get them, you know, finished up and used up those extra pieces. Maybe even find some more green backing that's, you know, pieces I want to use up. So this will be a great project for doing that. And I'll talk about colors and all those other things. I just wanted to get you excited because some of you were having a hard time visualizing the shamrock. Oh, ye of little faith. But there it is. You will be cute on point too. Oh, look at that. So shamrocks, I want you to be thinking about that. The mini muffins, I'll link you below to the sew along that we did, to you print the pattern and be thinking about it. We also have for the mini muffins, for the shamrocks, I don't know where I put it. It's back over there. But we had the green table runner, which I want to do an applique shamrock on there, and then the little coaster, which is, you know, darling. That's been, you know, so those are some options to do. So I hope you like that. I do. I think it's really fun. I think it's going to be fantastic to sew shamrocks. It's like every season we're going to sew something. We're going to be busy. We're going to be busy quilters, always finding new things to sew. All right, let's chat now. UFOs, unfinished objects. If you are a fairly new quilter or someone who hasn't hung out with other quilters before, you do exist. I know you do exist. You've quilted by yourself, and all of a sudden you've discovered there are millions of other quilters online, and so yay. But an unfinished object, a UFO, is a common term that quilters talk about because we have things that we haven't finished. So I have dedicated time between, this is February 15th, between now and February 28th, every single day I am allocating time every day to work on a UFO. So there was a question from Diana, and she was feeling a bit overwhelmed. She had counted her UFOs and she counted her works in progress, which are things you're actively working on. They haven't really been sitting waiting for you for a while. You're kind of actively working on a work in progress, WIP. So she was asking, she just felt a little overwhelmed. She didn't know how to approach it. Well, I can help. I am the queen of understanding how to approach things like this. I am a scheduler. I was born scheduling everything. This has been what I do and how I think. I have a very process-oriented brain. I break things down even when I don't need to. It's just the way my brain works. If you've met people like me, then you know what I'm like. If you've not met people like me, you're going to. So the deal is we have, what do we have? Okay, so we have 14 days to work on UFOs. So what we're going to do is decide how to approach this by filling out a form so that you are writing this down somewhere, somehow. So you could, I'm going to show you this, you could take my project completion sheet, and I'm going to walk you through what I wrote on here. I have completion sheets for just a single page. And for those of you working with your quilt journals, so you can keep this all in place nice and tidy. You have like basic list, and then you have project pages on there as well. So these are something like this is what you need, because if you don't write it down and you're just trying to keep it in your head has a lot of stuff going on in there. There's a lot of other things that are going on. If you write it down, it helps solidify what you're doing. It helps your brain focus on it. Plus, you can keep it out where you can say, okay, that's what I'm doing right now, you know. But let's see, let's figure this out. And so if you have 14 days, that means you can only do so much each day. So I decided to pick 7 projects because, and a bonus, just in case I'm really fast. So that means in 14 days, 7 projects. That means 2 days per project. So if I have binding to put on, that means I have 2 days to get it completed. Now, you know how long it takes you to do binding. If you're doing binding by hand, and it's a very large quilt, 2 days may not work for you because what? It might take you longer than 2 days because maybe you only can stitch on it for like 30 minutes. And you're not going to get very far around a queen size quilt in 30 minutes of hand binding. But let's say you are machine binding. Then you can do, you know, a quilt binding in one evening for a queen size quilt. And it's done. So there's a timing issue when you decide how you're going to work each day. So let me show you on my sheet. Let me just show you. Let's take a look at what I did. And then I'm going to pick up quilts. And we're going to look at those too. So, okay. I wrote down on here that when I'm working, I've got February 15th to the 28th. I've got 14 days. And I put the projects. So I have, these are 4 projects, 5 projects. No, that's what, that says table runner. I'm reading upside down. Yes, my own writing. My handwriting is atrocious. So I have 4 bindings to do that I've listed here. I have more than 4 to do, but I'm picking 4 to do in February. Only 4 bindings. And then I have a small table runner that needs quilted and binding. I have the flowers quilt that needs basted, quilted, and binding, pillow shams, and then my bonus will be binding on the Florida quilt when it comes back, because it will come back before the end of February. So let's take a look. I wrote this down. So that's a plan. That's 7 projects plus a bonus, and I only have 14 days, which means 2 days, 2 days, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And if I got something done early, I could work on the bonus. Can I do a table runner, baste it and quilt it and bind it in one day? The amount of time I'm allocating for the one day, that's possible. But that means I have to allocate how much time that day to do it, to baste the table runner, to quilt the table runner, and then bind the table runner. I might say I might need 2 hours that day to do it in one day to get all of that done. Do you see where I'm going? You have to look at each of your items and say, you know, just do some sort of broad time frame. Okay, it might take me 3 hours to do that. Do I have 3 hours in one day this week? Can you set aside, you know, a lot of time in the rest of this month, each day, for your quilting? Or are you very limited for the rest of this month with your time? You have a lot of other commitments, so maybe you really can only do 30 minutes. So your UFO plan might be for 30 minutes a day for 14 days. You might have just 3 projects that you could get done, or maybe just 2, depending on what you have to get done on them. I mean, yours might be finishing the blocks. You know, those could take a lot longer. So you have to look at what your projects are. Let's go back and look. Let's look at mine. I have to move my mic here so that I can get over here a little easier. All right, so I brought them all in the room here that I'm going to work on, because one of the big things is if your projects are not where you're working, if they are sort of scattered around the house or stuffed under a box in the other room under the bed, you know, you forget that you have them, and you forget that to do them, even if they might have it written down. But if you can get them in your space so they're like right in your face the whole time. So I have the elephants, which I showed you. So there's the elephants. That's the first one I will do so that I can get the binding done on the elephants. Now I have the stay-at-home quilt, which I have the binding, not cut and made, cut, but not sewn together, and the backing. This is the one that absolutely has to go after the elephants. This has to be the next one because this must be done before March. I made it, started in March of 2020, and I must have it done before March 1st. That is my personal goal. There would be no problem unless I'm sick. There'll be no problem getting that one done. So, oh goodness. Okay. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Okay. So now I want to get the bindings done. Those are the parties. So I have the traffic jam, and this is a bigger one. So I'll probably do the traffic jam after the stay at home because it's bigger. And if I get the bigger ones done, then my goal then would have smaller and smaller because it's motivating. It's motivating. I don't want to be motivated. I'm not motivated to have the big one last. I'm motivated to do the small ones. I'm accomplishing something. They're finished, cha-ching, cha-ching, and then the big ones are all done. Leave the small ones to the end because you're like, oh yeah, I could fit that in. That's small. I can fit it in. It's a mental game. You see, I just love this. This is why I'm giddy. I'm giddy to do this. It's like, oh my gosh. So here is my traffic jam, and that needs binding. So I'm just going to lay this over here on this chair over there. Okay, and then I'm just like embarrassed about this one, but you know, true confessions. This is my grandma's kitchen that I never got the binding on it, like for shame of me. I can't believe it. I love this quilt. I love this sew along, but I never got the binding on. I love this backing. It's something I'd had forever. Isn't that pretty? So this one will be after the traffic jam because it's a little bit smaller. So those will be all the ones I bind for sure. So that's 4. Then I have the little table runner, which I'm going to leave till last because it's small. I have the flowers. So these guys, I have to baste it and quilt it. So I will do this one after the bindings. This will be the first one I do after the bindings. There we go. Ta-da! That one. So I have the backing made, and I want to show you right here because it, who made this one? Let me look on my notes here. Tara. Tara did this one in really beautiful shades of red. So take a look at that. She showed it over on the Quilt Along with Pat Sloan page. So I just love seeing that. Okay, I've got a mess going on over there. All right, so I've got the green one, and then I have 2 other things on here on the list. I've got this little table runner, which was with my Bonnie Lane, that I had these leftovers, and then I sewed them up the other day when I was sewing other things. So I think this is super cute. It needs to be done. These are things now. Okay, then let me show you the last one. Okay, and then the last one is the pillow shams, which are not started at all. The pillow shams are fabric. It is just the fabric. So that means I have to get my old pillow shams, measure them, I'll quilt the fronts of them, and that won't be a long project, but it's certainly not a 30-minute project. So now I have 7 days for all of that. And I still have to do my regular work. I still have to do these videos. I still have to write patterns. I still have to make blocks for other sew-alongs. I still have to plan for other things that we're doing. I have a special project I'm working on that will be for later in the year, but I have to do parts of it in February. So that means some days I may only have 30 minutes for these projects. And some days I might have 2 hours for these projects, maybe even 3 hours one day of this month, but I'm not counting on that. I'm counting on them being smaller amounts of time and hoping that I can do maybe an hour and a half every day. I mean, that would be really lovely, or 2 hours every day where I could devote, and it might just be in the evenings. During the day, it might be when I do the work projects, and these UFOs all get done in the evening hours. And I take a break in the evening. Greg and I sit and talk, and we have something to eat, and we just sort of not do what we've been doing all day. Just take a break. So there we go. I don't think it's a hard way to plan. I think it's a very successful way to plan, so that if you take your number of days and then how much time you have each of those days, and then decide how many projects will fit in there. Maybe you fit 3 projects. Maybe you fit 5 projects. Maybe you're an overachiever like me and you try to fit 7 projects and a bonus. It isn't going to happen. I know that right now. It isn't going to happen. But I'm okay with putting more. I'm okay with pushing myself this for February, because this whole event, it's an event. Okay, that's the word. So it's an event because I want to push myself for an event. I don't want to just say, okay, like my regular goal is 3 UFOs a month. No, for this event, I want to try to get 7 and a bonus. So that means I will work a little harder. I won't maybe take as long a break. I won't maybe mess around on the internet with looking at something. I will instead go, okay, I have a goal. I have a goal. Try to get all this done, and I want to meet that goal. Now, you may not be that way, but I am. And you could also put it in your planner. It's a perfect thing for your planner to track. You could do it. You could even just take one of the pages and just use it for tracking. For this, you don't, just fill that out as the different projects and put when you did them. I am excited. I am excited not just for me, but for you. For those of you who are going to take this challenge and try to finish up some of your UFOs. They all might not be this far to finished, like putting binding on them. You may have quite a few where you have to do a bunch of blocks, and that's what you have to do. That's okay. That's okay. It moves the project forward, which is the goal, is to have a push to challenge ourselves for the next 14 days to really make it happen. And daily, when I come on the video, I will tell you my progress. So I'm hoping that you will have your progress too, and you can share it daily in the comments here at YouTube, and you can share it daily over at my group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. Yes, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me here on Monday night. So tomorrow morning I have a video again, so I know some of you will pop on there in the morning, and I'll see you then. All the links are below. I'm just excited. I'm just so happy to have you sewing along with me on this, and thank you very much for using all of our links. Greg and I appreciate that. So I love you. Mwah. I'll see you online.